This is Dr. Mark Hitchcock from here at Faith Bible Church in Edmond, Oklahoma for another episode of Marking the Times. Thank you so much for all of you who've been sending in questions and responding to these episodes. We appreciate it very much. You can get on Facebook or go to marklhitchcock.com and you can interact with us there or send questions that you have that I can answer. I'll answer Bible prophecy questions or other questions as well that you can send in. Now, one of the things we like to do, though, is kind of give prophecy updates along. There's a lot of things happening in the world geopolitically. We've been talking in some of the recent times about what's been going on over in Syria and the Middle East, and we talked last time about North Korea. But one thing that's fascinating, it's been in the news a bit lately, you may have seen it, is China's whole new system of a social credit system. We're all familiar here in the United States with having a credit score. You know, they kind of rank your credit based on how much credit you have, how you pay your bills. But in China, they have a social credit system. It's kind of something almost out of George Orwell or like Brave New World. In fact, let me just read a few things here from a couple of articles. Someone says this: it sounds like a plot line from an episode of Black Mirror set in a dystopian future, but China's social credit system has already seen over 12 million people slapped with domestic travel bans as punishment for bad behavior. 9 million Chinese have been banned from buying domestic flights, 3 million more from buying business class tickets in early trials of the scheme, under which citizens are rated on their compliance with social norms and rules. Behaviors that triggered bans varied from obstructing footpaths with electric bikes to failing to pay fines. It's real interesting there. You get this credit score, this social credit score, and if your score is 650, if you get that many points, you can rent a car without a deposit. One other one that was fascinating is if you get 666 points, you can get a cash loan of up to 50,000 in Chinese currency. Now, I don't think that this has anything to do with the 666 in Revelation 13, but it is interesting that number is included. Kind of more specifically, it gives an example of one man named Li Hu, who recently tried to book a flight and was told he was banned from flying because he's on the list of untrustworthy people. Liu is a journalist who was ordered by a court to apologize for a series of tweets he wrote, and then was told his apology was insincere. But he goes on to say he can't buy property, his children can't go to a private school, and he says this: you feel like you're being controlled by the list all the time. So people's lives are being controlled by behaviors that the government is watching. It says the list is getting longer as every Chinese citizen is being assigned a social credit score, a fluctuating rating based on a range of behaviors. Fraud, tax evasion, and smoking and non-smoking areas can drop your score. And they even scrutinize the books that you read through places like Amazon and others. They do this through cameras. There's a growing surveillance system there. They have smart cameras for the government that can help catch criminals but track the average citizens. These cameras are everywhere. They can recognize more than 4,000 vehicles in one location. They're even working on facial identification. They can tell who the people are and what they're doing. And of course, they're doing this to produce fear and conformity in their culture. But interestingly, a lot of other nations may be doing the same thing and we may not know about it. Kind of like with the NSA, where they're taking everyone's emails and calls, and all of that is being collected into a massive collection system or information gathering. What we see here, though, is really a foreshadow of what the Bible talks about in Revelation 13. It says there that no one can buy or sell unless they have the mark of the beast. Well, here already we see people who can't travel. They can't get certain loans. Their children can't go to certain schools. In other words, a control that's being exercised on people's lives based on their behavior. Now, I'm not saying that anything we see in China or anywhere else in the world today is the mark of the beast or 666 or those things spoken of in Revelation 13. But Revelation 13 does speak of a world economic political system in the end times that will control what people can do. It will control their ability to be involved in the world economy, being able to buy or sell. And it will put a stranglehold on people's lives. And all I'm saying is things like this that we see with the technology that's available and the control that's available today, all of this foreshadows what we see in the Bible in Revelation chapter 13, where everyone will be required to submit to certain behaviors in the end times. So we see things like this happening, and they're not happening in our country, places like China and others, and they seem, it may seem what's happening in our own country is fairly innocuous at this time. But I think these kind of things are going to be ramped up over time. People's lives are going to come under more and more control as there's fear of terrorism and crime and all kinds of other things. And people will accept it because they'll accept giving up privacy for security. And again, all of this is paving the way, I believe, for what's coming in the end time. So again, it's just something to keep our eyes on and to watch as we wait for the Lord's coming. Hope you'll join us next time for another episode of Marking the Times. God bless you. Thank you for being with us today.